I'm back. Alright folks, I'm excited to talk about this movie today. The Wolverine, starring Hugh Jackman. Damn! Look at that body. I already went on like a 6,000 calorie diet for this film. I can see why after you get a body like that. Gosh, don't you just want to lick him? Yeah, I bet you do. Pervert. So how is this performance? I'm gonna be as straight to the point as possible here. That's the title of my show. It's the best Wolverine performance we've ever had. Find out for yourself why it's so fantastic. It's got all the layers you want, and this time, you really get to know his identity. He gets to find himself. Yes, he's not just lost again, and the movie doesn't end again with him being lost, or you see him go through a whole journey, and then he gets a bullet in his head, and suddenly he just forgets everything we saw. That wasn't a waste of my time. One thing that I know is on everyone's mind. He has bones that come out of his hands, right? Before they're adamantium. Can he do that with his penis? And yes, it delivers on the goods. The action, the effects are fantastic. It's not bombarded with effects, but when it's there, it's pretty fucking good. And the action is awesome. What's cool is like every action scene has its own little flavor to it. And there's this fantastic scene when they're fighting on top of a speeding bullet train. Not a speeding bullet, a train. And let me tell you, I thought that scene was gonna suck when I saw the trailer. I was wrong. That made me shit. In a good way. You ever heard of an orgasm poop? That is what I had. And in this one, you know, it feels violent, because Wolverine's really fucking up people in this one. There's another character in it called Yukio. She has an interesting shaped head. There is something about her head that is really distracting. I've heard it described as a Tim Burton type of character head, a heart-shaped head, a pear. Why don't you comment below and tell me what you think of her head? But speaking of head, I would not want this woman to give me head, because she seems like she can kill me at any moment. Meaning I'd be afraid for my penis. She's a great supporting character for Wolverine. Would I do stuff with her? Nah. And I love the storytelling of this film. Thank you, director James Mangold. When I first heard Darren Aronofsky was gonna do this movie, I was like, whoa, get ready for the most depressing Wolverine movie we are about to see. And James Mangold stepped in and I was like, I don't think he's the better director than Darren Aronofsky necessarily, but he delivered. And I love the overall tone. I love the themes that are going on. I love how they have this story of Wolverine, who's this guy who really just wants to die. It's cool to see an immortal who's suicidal and is really dark. They made it much darker this time. And he has to go on this journey in a foreign country, a fish out of water. And he has to find himself, you know, learning the ways of the samurai. And that is just cool. It's like The Last Samurai meets a good X-Men movie. And that's another thing too, actually. It doesn't necessarily feel like an X-Men movie. It feels like its own standalone film. You're not there bored going, we're only watching one X-Men. You are so pulled into this one-person tale. It's fantastic. I mean, you gotta just watch it for one simple reason. It's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine, that movie I could pee on then light on fire. And I've done that several thousand times. I am negative in my bank account from the amount of DVDs I have peed on. Every reason that Origins sucks, the creators of this new one, they said, hey, we know what sucks and we are gonna make it good. And they succeeded. And by the way, there's a wonderful production design, but I know you don't want to hear me spend too much time on that, because you might zone out. You might get bored. And this is supposed to be entertaining for you. And because it's supposed to be entertaining, I can't talk about production design for too long. All I can tell you is it's great. It's fantastic. Fantastic is like the word to describe this movie. You know, there's a couple of things though that are not so great about this film. They got Viper. She, horrible actress. Don't like her. Don't want to watch anything else she's in. Maybe I've seen it already. I'm gonna pee on those movies too. She was just way too cartoonish from the very beginning. I felt like she thought she was in a completely different movie. Just bad. She was the first thing, like 45 minutes into this movie, that pulled me out of the film. And yes, a lot of critics are complaining about the third act, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I see all the flaws here. It gets a little bit bombarded, it starts to speed up, and it gets way too science fiction, a little too cartoonish. And I see that, but there was also some cool stuff in there, and it wasn't enough to make me go, fuck this movie. Despite parts of the third act, despite this bitch, I still love the film. immensely. Let me get straight to the point here. All in all, I gotta say the Wolverine got it super right. Alright guys, thanks for checking out my show. Why don't you go ahead, scroll that comment box below, and tell me, what did you think of the Wolverine? And if you haven't seen it, is it because of X-Men Origins Wolverine? And if you want to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, you can click this link right here. We can talk back and forth to each other. We can tweet each other. We'd be cool, man. We'd be cool. We could smoke a bowl over Twitter together. And if you want to see a more in-depth review of the Wolverine, go ahead and check out my show called Reasons to See that I do with my buddy Jerry. And we're going to give you a good, ultimate, in-depth spoiler review of the Wolverine. And last but not least, if you want to get updated every time one of my reviews is out, go ahead and click on this button to subscribe. That's right, near the crotch area. The Wolverine is what I like to call it, because it's quite bushy.